5 words. That is all it took to completely dismantle the lives of some of Port Charles's biggest power players. Was this really just a miracle recovery? Or was it the ultimate trap set by a man who has spent his entire life playing the deadliest games in the world? When Jack Brennan's eyes snapped open in that ICU, he wasn't just waking up from a coma. He was waking up to a city that had already tried to bury him. The fallout is going to be more than just a legal scandal. It is going to be an emotional execution for everyone involved. I mean, let's be real for a second. We've seen a lot of drama at General Hospital, but this feels different. It feels final. You have to wonder, did Nina really think she could just walk into a hospital and finish the job without anyone noticing? To understand why this awakening is so catastrophic, we have to look at the sheer psychological horror of Brennan's condition. Imagine being Jack Brennan. You're a high-level WSB operative. You're the guy who is usually 3 steps ahead of everyone else in the room. Suddenly, you're rendered a silent witness in your own body. The sources tell us he was actually fully aware while he was lying there. He was absorbing every single whisper, every conspiracy, and every admission of guilt while he appeared completely incapacitated. This wasn't just a medical anomaly. It was a front-row seat to his own attempted murder. From a psychological perspective, Brennan likely experienced a shift from terror to a cold, calculating rage. He heard Nina Reeves' frantic justifications and Valentin Cassadine's tactical maneuvers while he couldn't even move a finger. My opinion? The writers have brilliantly turned Brennan into a human recording device. He didn't just wake up, he reloaded. He allowed his enemies to feel safe enough to confess their sins right next to his bed. That is a level of strategic patience that makes him more dangerous than Sonny Corinthos or Valentin Cassadine combined. Don't you think that's terrifying? Imagine talking about your darkest secrets while the person you're talking about is listening to every word. Now, let's talk about the absolute psychological unraveling of Nina Reeves. We've seen her play the victim for years, haven't we? But this latest arc proves she's finally pushed past the point of no return. The sources highlight her sheer panic as she stood over Brennan with that syringe. It was a needle filled with the same paralytic drug that has been keeping Drew Kane locked in. Why did Nina almost go through with it? Well, think about it. It's pure survival instinct. She isn't thinking like a mother or a businesswoman anymore. She's thinking like an animal caught in a trap. She realized that if Brennan spoke, her access to her grandchildren, her only remaining tether to her version of a good life, would vanish forever. The funny thing is, the irony here is thick enough to choke on. In her desperate attempt to remain a good person for her family, she was willing to become a murderer. When Brennan grabbed her wrist with shocking strength, it wasn't just a jump scare for the audience. It was the physical manifestation of her sins finally catching up to her. Those 5 devastating words, "She stabbed me, Nina Reeves," didn't just lead to an arrest. They shattered the delusion that she could ever go back to her old life. In my view, Nina's arrest in the middle of General Hospital, in full view of the staff, is the most humiliating and deserved moment in her character's history. It is a total narrative reset for her. Do you think she can ever come back from this? Or is the victim act finally dead and buried? While Nina is the one in handcuffs, Carly Spencer is standing right in the center of a federal firestorm. And honestly, she should have seen this coming. Carly has always operated on a loyalty-first, law-second basis. But her alliance with Valentin Cassadine has finally put her in genuine legal jeopardy. By sheltering Valentin, a man Brennan has now identified as the mastermind behind his condition, Carly is no longer just a concerned mother. She is an active participant in an obstruction of justice. Why does Carly keep doing this? It's her psychological need to be the fixer. She views herself as the only one capable of saving her daughter, Jocelyn. If that means harboring a Cassadine fugitive, she'll do it without blinking. However, Brennan's testimony changes the math completely. He has federal weight behind him. When he reveals that Carly's home was a staging ground for these secrets, the authorities aren't going to care about her good intentions. They are only going to see a woman who helped a criminal evade capture. In my opinion, Carly's arrogance has finally met a force she can't charm or bully her way out of: the WSB. How many times can she play with fire before she actually gets burned? It feels like the clock is ticking on her luck. And then there is Willow. If you thought Nina was the only one in trouble, you have to look at what's happening with Willow Kane. The good girl of Port Charles is currently spiraling into a state of pure terror. Willow has been the primary keeper of the secret regarding Drew Kane's paralysis. With Brennan awake, the medical similarities between the two cases are impossible to ignore. Psychologically, Willow is facing her ultimate nightmare. She has built this perfect life as a congresswoman and a devoted wife while effectively holding a man hostage in his own mind. The sources suggest she is terrified that Nina will flip on her to save herself. This is where the commentary gets dark. Willow isn't just worried about prison. She's worried about her reputation. She has used her influence to help people, like trying to get Anna transferred, perhaps as a way to balance her cosmic ledger. But you can't buy your way out of the kind of secrets Brennan is about to spill. If the truth about Drew comes out, Willow doesn't just lose her freedom, she loses her children. In the world of soap operas, losing your kids is a fate worse than death. Do you think Willow is actually a villain now? Or is she just another victim of Nina's chaos? We also have to discuss the fall of Valentin Cassadine. This man went from being the orchestrator of Port Charles's shadows to an international fugitive in the blink of an eye. Brennan's testimony didn't just implicate him, it weaponized the entire federal government against him. It's fascinating to watch, isn't it? Valentin is a man driven by love, his love for Anna Devane, and his desire to protect his daughter, Charlotte. But that love has made him reckless and stupid, which is exactly what Carly called him. He thought he could control Brennan. He underestimated the resilience of a man who has nothing left to lose. By turning Valentin into a wanted man on an international scale, the show has effectively stripped him of his Cassadine power. He is no longer a player, he is a target. He's hiding out near Carly, still thinking he can control the story, but he has no idea that the story has already moved past him. He's playing checkers while Brennan is playing 4D chess from a hospital bed. I also want to give a massive amount of credit to Elizabeth Baldwin. As a veteran nurse, her detective instincts were the first to bridge the gap between Brennan and Drew. She noticed the patterns when no one else would. Psychologically, Elizabeth represents the moral anchor in this sea of deception. While everyone else was plotting and injecting people with mystery drugs, she was just trying to save a patient. Her involvement is what makes Brennan's awakening so final. Because she witnessed Nina's behavior and heard the immediate accusation, there is no way for a lawyer to claim Brennan was just confused or hallucinating. Elizabeth is the ultimate credible witness. My opinion? The writers have used Elizabeth to ensure that this time, there is no get-out-of-jail-free card for Nina Reeves. It's hard to lie your way out of a situation when the most honest person in town is standing right there watching you. Now, I want to take a second to address some of the wilder rumors out there. One source actually suggests a much darker outcome where Nina successfully kills Brennan in the hospital with a massive overdose. While the main spoilers say he wakes up, we have to consider the psychological impact of that what if. If Nina had killed him, she would have transformed from a tragic figure into a full-blown apex predator. It would have been the ultimate villain origin story. But having him wake up is, in many ways, much more satisfying for us as viewers. It allows for a confrontation that death would have cheated us of. It forces Nina and Carly and Willow to look at the man they tried to destroy and hear him speak his truth. It's about accountability, and in Port Charles, that is a very rare commodity. The tension in the city is currently at terminal velocity. We have Nina in custody, Valentin on the run, Carly under federal scrutiny, and Willow on the verge of a nervous breakdown. This isn't just a bad week for these characters. It's a total demolition of their social and legal standing. And the conflict is only going to get worse as people like Ross Cullum and the WSB get more involved. Cullum is a dirty double agent who is going to use this chaos to his advantage. He doesn't just want justice for Brennan. He wants to bury anyone who knows too much about his own operations. This puts people like Jocelyn in the crosshairs, especially since she is currently trapped in a black zone that only Brennan might have the keys to. So, what happens next? If I had to guess, I'd say we are heading for a trial that will rock Port Charles to its core. Nina is going to face federal charges that make her previous mistakes look like child's play. We might even see a courtroom battle where Brennan is the star witness, pointing a finger at every person who whispered over his paralyzed body. And what about Carly? She might have to cut a deal to avoid an obstruction of justice charge. That would probably involve her betraying Valentin, which would destroy their alliance forever. As for Willow, I think her good girl mask is about to shatter into a million pieces. Once Michael realizes what she's been doing with Drew, we're looking at a custody battle for the ages. The damage here is irreversible, and honestly, that is exactly what the show needed to shake things up. Think about the ripple effect this has on everyone else. You've got Dante Falconeri, who is already furious about the cover-up involving Rocco. When he gets pulled into a murder investigation or a federal inquiry involving a WSB agent, it's going to be a total collision of storylines. Everything is connected now. You can't pull one thread without the whole tapestry unraveling. Jack Brennan's awakening has done more than just start a legal proceeding. It has forced a mirror in front of every major character. They are all being asked the same thing. How far are you willing to go to protect a lie? For Nina, the answer was whatever it takes, even if I have to use a needle. For Carly, it was I'll hide a fugitive in my guest room. For Willow, it was I'll let a man stay paralyzed as long as I get what I want. In the end, Brennan is the only one who has emerged from this with any real power. He has the truth, he has the evidence, and he has the federal backing to make it stick. He is the smartest shark in the tank, and everyone else is just swimming for their lives. I'm curious what you guys think about all of this. Do you think Nina deserves redemption after this, or has she officially crossed the line into being a permanent villain? And who do you think is more to blame for this mess? Valentin for starting the whole plan, or Carly for protecting him even when she knew how high the stakes were? There is so much more to unpack as these episodes air. Is Brennan really the hero here, or is he just another manipulator who happened to get lucky? And what about the mystery of Nathan, or Cassius Faison? Is he there to help Jocelyn, or is he just another layer of danger? The walls are closing in on everyone, and it feels like no one is going to come out of this clean. If you want to stay updated on every explosive twist and turn in Port Charles, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you're as shocked as I am by Brennan's 5-word takedown. And definitely drop your wildest theories in the comments. I read all of them, and I want to know who you think is going down next. Is it going to be Willow? Or is Carly going to find a way to escape the federal heat one more time? Let's talk about it. Until next time, keep your eyes open because in Port Charles, the person you think is sleeping might be the one hearing every single word you say. It really makes you think about the nature of these characters. We spend years rooting for them, but then they do something so inherently selfish that it makes you question why you liked them in the first place. Nina is a prime example. She wants to be loved so badly, but she chooses the most destructive paths to get there. And Carly? She thinks she's the moral center of the universe, but she's just as capable of breaking the law as anyone else when it suits her family. The psychology of protection is really at the heart of this storyline. Everyone claims they are doing these terrible things to protect someone else, but at the end of the day, they are just protecting themselves from the consequences of their own choices. Brennan is just the catalyst that is forcing them to face those consequences. The medical side of this is also pretty fascinating. The idea of this paralytic drug being used as a weapon is so dark for a soap opera. It's not just a magic potion, it's a tool for psychological torture. Drew Kane has been living in a waking nightmare for months because of it. When Brennan describes what that felt like, it's going to be a huge moment for the show. It's going to make the crimes of Nina and Willow feel much more visceral and real. It's one thing to hear about a locked-in state, but it's another thing to hear a victim describe the terror of being unable to scream while your enemies plot around you. That kind of testimony is going to be impossible for a jury or the audience to ignore. And let's not forget about the kids. The impact on Jocelyn and Rocco and Charlotte is going to be massive. These are young people who are being caught in the crossfire of their parents' bad decisions. Jocelyn is in a black zone because of these games. Rocco is shooting people to protect his family. It's a cycle of violence and deception that just keeps repeating itself. Brennan might be the one who finally breaks that cycle, even if he has to burn the whole city down to do it. Is he the savior Port Charles needs? or just the one it deserves? I guess we'll find out soon enough. One thing is for sure, General Hospital is at its absolute peak right now. This is high stakes, gripping television that makes you want to tune in every single day just to see who's going to slip up next. The writers are not holding back, and I am here for every unhinged second of it. If Nina really does end up in federal prison, it will be the biggest status quo shift we've seen in years. And if Carly loses her freedom, well, that would be the shock of the century. But in a world where Jack Brennan can wake up and end a conspiracy with 5 words, anything is possible. Make sure you don't miss a single update as this story unfolds. We're going to be right here breaking down every reveal, every betrayal, and every shocking moment. So, like I said, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. The drama in Port Charles is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens when the dust finally settles. Will there be anyone left standing? Or is everyone about to lose everything they've worked for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned, GH fans, because things are about to get even crazier. The reality of Nina's situation is just so stark when you compare it to how she usually tries to handle things. Usually, she's all about the grand gesture or the long-winded apology. But you can't apologize for trying to murder a man in a hospital bed. You can't make up for injecting someone with a paralytic drug because they knew too much. This is a level of criminality that changes the character forever. Whether she goes to prison or not, she can never claim to be the moral superior to Carly ever again. That long-standing rivalry has basically reached its final chapter, and Nina is the one who ended it by becoming the very thing she always said she hated. It's tragic in a way, but it's also incredibly compelling to watch. And then there's the Valentin of it all. He's always been a villain with a heart of gold, but how much gold is left in that heart when he's causing this much collateral damage? He's destroyed his relationship with Anna, he's turned himself into a fugitive, and he's put Carly in the line of fire. For what? To protect a daughter who is already spiraling? He's lost his perspective, and Brennan is the one who is going to make him pay for it. The collision between Brennan and Valentin is going to be epic. 2 masters of the shadows finally stepping into the light to finish each other off. It's the kind of storytelling that keeps us coming back year after year. As we wait for the next episode, the anticipation is just building. Every scene at the hospital feels like it's charged with electricity. Every time Elizabeth looks at a chart or a monitor, you're waiting for her to find that one piece of evidence that seals Nina's fate. Every time Carly answers the door, you're waiting for it to be federal agents with a warrant. The show has managed to create a sense of genuine dread, and that is a testament to how well this storyline has been constructed. It's not just a soap opera plot anymore, it's a high-stakes thriller. So, wrap your head around those 5 words. She stabbed me, Nina Reeves. They're going to be echoing through Port Charles for a long time. They are the sound of a world ending for Nina and the sound of a new, dangerous chapter beginning for everyone else. Thanks for hanging out and breaking this down with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more GH analysis and spoilers. I'll be back soon with more news from the world of General Hospital. Keep watching and keep theorizing.